So can I get right here? The name of the brand is Sleepis4Suckers. It's for anybody that's losing sleep chasing their dream. Like I firmly believe you have to give up sleep to get what you want. And you can be asleep while you're awake. You can be asleep all day. Like you can play video games all day, and we consider that sleep. So if you want to wake up, if you want to be successful, you got to wake up. Like that's point blank. So every time I say sleep, you can almost substitute that word with being comfortable. You got to give up being comfortable to get what you want. So when I say sleep is for suckers, what do you think that means? Right? I mean, yeah. I just want to keep it 100. I'm not here to like motivate y'all. If I can just promote a little bit of thought, a little thinking, right? But I'm telling you, that's how most people end up. I started at the Cheesecake Factory in like 05 or something like that. And I looked at this girl that worked there for 4 years. And like this whole time, I'm like an entrepreneur. Like, look, I'm just working here to get this money so that I can put it in something else. I'm not going to be here forever. You've been here for 4 years? You've been waiting tables for 4 years? Refilling drinks for 4 years? Right? Like, we wear all white every day, work in a restaurant, serve people food, get off work, dirty, come back the next day. You've been doing that every day for 4 years? And I said that'd never be me. I turned around, I was there 6 years. And I seen all these people come in, and I had to tell them, like, I've been here about 3 years now. And I could see it in their face, just like that. Like, 3 years? Well, that ain't gonna be me. But life hits you. Life happens. So if you don't figure out some kind of plan now, if you don't figure out some kind of plan, you'll be there. I'm telling you. Am I lying?
No, sir, I say this how many times to Mr. White?
Looking at me.
Everything you just said are things that I think it's because I'm a woman and I'm a mother and I sound motherly, but he's connected with you and he's hearing my nagging voice in his head.
It happens. Now, there's some good news. Because all of you are going to get a job. You're not going to necessarily be doing what you want to do right after high school or right after college. So like most of you will be in that job situation. But now that we're talking about it, you'll probably be thinking, I got to get out. So what do you do? How do you get out? Make a plan.
You make a plan to get out.
Make a plan. What would you do if I gave you $100?
I go spend it.
On what?
Something.
It's all right. That's all right. This is the purpose. I built this brand. I got a brand. Catch y'all up. I got a brand called Sleepis4Suckers for entrepreneurs. Anybody's ever lost sleep doing what they love, like on the grind. So all of our shirts have like a work ethic undertone to it. And I asked people what they would do with money if they had it, because the amount of the money isn't as important as your plan for it, right? I told them this scenario that imagine working in a factory for 40 years, like 12 hours a day, you sleep 8 hours a day, you spend time with your family for 4 hours, you wake up and do it again. You do that every single day for 40 years. How many people think they're going to be in that situation? How many people know for a fact they're not going to be in that situation? And I told them the reality of it in a room this big, about, everybody stand up real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sit down. Go to. Statistics say all of you will live that mundane life every single day. I'm not saying it, it's the stats. Right? Like basically 80 to 90% of, about 80% of people, they work a job every day for 40 years with no plan. So somebody asked them at 49 yard in your teens, somebody asked them at 40 years old, if I gave you $100, what would you do with it? They'll come up with the same exact answer. Shoot, what, $100 now? Well, you know, I pay my light bill or something like that. Y'all can sit down now. The plan is more important than the money. That's how you see all these, somebody hit the lottery then a few years, they get $100 million, they hit the lottery, they end up broke a few years later. Broke, because they didn't have a plan.
They moving too fast.
They might be moving slow with no plan. They might, their parents come and say, look, I need some money. They be like, all right, I got you. Hey, boys, look, I got you. Let's go shop. I'm gonna take my friends out, all that. So I'm gonna give y'all a plan. Y'all ready? The reason I built this brand is, well, my ultimate goal is to, I want to build entrepreneurial colleges for kids. Because your first encounter with money in your entire life, what's your first encounter with money? Like when do you get your first piece of money? Like allowance, right? So you take out the trash, you clean your room, your parents might give you $5, right? Nobody ever tells the kid what to do with the $5. Would y'all agree?
Yes.
Like when somebody gave you some money, did they tell you, all right, this is what you do with this $5? They said, no, you earned it, you keep it, right? So most kids, they'll spend a week doing chores, they'll get the $5 and spend the $5, and then the next week, they'll do their chores and get $5 and spend it, and that happens over and over again. Until they get grown, and you get a job, you work all week, you get your paycheck, spend it on those 2 days off, the Saturday and Sunday, and you go back to work Monday through Friday, and spend the money on the weekend that you made Monday through Friday. No plan. And that's how you end up at a factory or something for 40 years. You have no plan. I'm about to give y'all a plan. Y'all ready? There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. Can I take a note? The Richest Man in Babylon. There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. I'm not going to tell y'all to take notes, but I think out of every 10 people I suggest this book to, probably 1 or 2 of them get it. 1 or 2 of them write it down and say, look, I'm going to get this book because I think this might help. Which makes those 1 or 2 people above average. So I'm not telling you what to do. You might remember it. Some people might want to write it down. Some people might want to get the book. But there's 15, 16 people in this room. Not everybody's going to go get this book. And I'm telling you, it's vital to your success. Fair enough? The book teaches. I don't even know why I'm telling y'all this. Right. Now with your plan, you got 100%. I'm gonna break it down. You don't want to spend more than 70% of your money. In this class, what I'm saying to y'all might be a little too advanced. I don't even know why I'm telling y'all this. I don't know why God got me telling y'all this, but you don't want to spend more than 70% of any money that you get.
So, you get, say for instance, I get
$100.
Yeah, $100. How much would I want to spend? At least just 10.
So if you can spend 70%, how much do you not spend? $30. Then. Just 70% of 100, $70. So you can do whatever you want to buy. Buy sneakers, clothes, whatever, with the 70%.
I get it because if you multiply by 10, 20, so you're only spending 70.
Do it like this.
30.
At every $10 you get, don't spend 3 of it.
Yeah.
At every $10 you get, don't spend 3 of it. So taking notes? So 70%, you can do whatever you want to do with it. So what do we do with the other 30%?
Save it.
Almost. 10%.
Give it away.
Gonna give away. Why?
Because the more you give, the more you receive.
It's just a classic principle. It sounds like mundane. Some people call it tithes and offering. Some people will say you reap what you sow. What does karma mean?
What goes around, comes around.
What goes around comes around. So it's not always necessarily a bad thing, right? Karma says if you steal from somebody, what would happen?
Somebody steal from you.
Right. So in the reverse situation when we're talking about money, if you give away $10, karma says
You get $10 back to you.
it's just a law.
Or you get more.
You find more.
If you give, it'll be given unto you. It just is what it is. Don't ask me why. I don't know why.
So have you ever gave some money away and turned around and got it right back?
Not necessarily because I wanted to, not necessarily because I was using it for a business, but it was the right thing to do. I was working at the Cheesecake Factory, and I used to give away 20% to my church out of the tips that I made.
It's 20%.
Yeah, black. Nah, that's a shark. I used to give away 20%. Not because I'm using it as an investment. I give God 20% and he'll give it back to me. It was just what it was. That's just where he had me. I think God was trying to teach me not to hold on to my money. Like, let it not. The Bible says, what is that? The thing. He says, try me, prove me now herewith, that I will not open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing you won't have room enough to receive. So it's a story where he's saying, you know, give, you know, sow into my house, sow into the church or whatever you believe in. Sow and prove me now herewith. That means try me. That means, look, I'll prove it to you. Just try this one time and I'll prove it to you. So I said, okay, well, you're telling me to give 10%, I'm gonna give 20% just to see what happens. The funny thing about it was it didn't seem like I was losing anything. It didn't seem like I was any broker. I could still go out, I could still buy shoes, but I made this plan to just give away 20%. Now, it's not really about the money, because I can make a whole bunch of money and give it away. Because I know it's coming back, I'm not tied to the money. Okay? So to answer your question, yes. As soon as I started to get 20% of all that I made, knowing that God gave me 100%, I can give him back 20%. I'll work with this 80 and make it happen. Because I had a plan, it wasn't about the amount. I came up with a plan. Okay? So 10% you want to give away. Don't ask me why that's the law, it just is what it is. Okay? So the first 10% you do what?
Get rid of 13%.
Give it away. Now, in your church, they teach tithing, which is what I do. I'm not pushing it on you, it's just what I do. Give to charities, do whatever you want to do, but 10% give it away. We clear?
Yeah.
Look, that principle took me a little while to settle with me, I understand, but you'll get it. Another 10%. We'll call it the flip.
Mr. Dukes, if you're...
All right, so 10% is for the flip, okay? So if you need a guitar, right? Let's just round it up. It's between $85 and $125. Let's say it's $100, right? And you make $100 a week. How long is it going to take you to get that guitar?
If you keep on, would you...
And a guitar is $100, yes.
And with this plan that you...
Yes.
Oh, no, like 2 weeks, and you said don't spend more than 7%.
Right. But for the 10%, that's for your business. That's the flip. That's for your business. Yeah. So basically, you work 10 weeks to get this $100 up for this guitar, right? Now you have a guitar. Does that seem simple, y'all?
No.
It doesn't?
Temptation.
It is very, very tempting. But you got 70%. What's up?
You can borrow some money. Think about it.
Well, what if you don't have any money to borrow? What if nobody's gonna give you $100-something? $100. What if you don't have $100? Or what if you don't know anybody that's just gonna give you $100 for a guitar?
You stuck.
You're stuck. When I told you that the plan is more important than the amount. So I'm just trying to get y'all to think. I have to come up with a plan. If y'all need to figure out how do you squeeze $100 out of a paycheck that gets spent before you get it anyway, right? I'm telling you, once you start working, all these bills rack up, you're not gonna find any money anywhere. I'm trying to tell you, and I wish y'all were a little older so y'all understood, because like 6 years from now, you're like, oh, that's what he's talking about. All I'm trying to promote is coming up with a plan. So if you need to get your mixtape printed and it costs $500, you gotta save 10% until you get it. Now you got your mixtape. But everybody says, look, I don't have $500 to get it. And then don't come up with a plan. They say, I can't do it. I don't got it. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Got any questions? Got any questions?
You don't have any questions. I have a question though.
What you got?
Maybe it's something on their mind. So the money that they need to put aside so that when they have the $500 to buy whatever is gonna help them come closer to their dreams, how do they help themselves not touch that money? Where do they put that money?
And
Well,
you can,
say it again?
you can put in a, can't you like put in a savings account and tell them that don't touch it to a certain amount of time?
Plus interest.
That's not a lot.
You can put it in a savings account, but that doesn't stop you from getting it.
A CD.
Something has to drive you. Something, you have to be so passionate about something, because something's gonna come up.
Right.
As soon as you save $80, you're gonna get a flat tire. And you'll have to spend that $80 on your tire. Now at this point, your goal has to be way more important than that tire.
So you gonna walk home?
You can walk.
But who would do that?
Realistic.
Who would do that?
If you really want it,
If you really want it.
You gotta
if
have
you really want
drive.
that guitar, then if you get a flat tire, you will walk.
Everybody stand up. 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 1, 2, sit down. These are the two people that's just gonna walk. Say, look, I got this money. I'm so close to getting this guitar. Like, I gotta do what I gotta do. I gotta call somebody for a ride, but I'm not touching this money. Because once I get this guitar, it's on and popping. It's on. But most of these people, not y'all in particular, will say, all right, I gotta date tonight. I can't let my girl. She gonna trip. She gonna trip if I don't get this tire fixed. She not trying to hear that. I got a flat tire. I gotta take this $80. I gotta spend it.
Alright, so what about a loan?
Like I said,
Oh, put it in this situation. If they catch a flat tire and their child at daycare and they gotta go get it. And they charge a late fee if you late.
No fitting.
Well,
So then what, you gon' get their tire fixed or?
well, what would happen if you didn't start this plan? Listen, what would happen if you didn't start this plan of saving?
You'd be living a regular life, an average life.
What would you do? No, I'm saying, like, say you didn't have this $80 set to the side because you done bought some sneakers or whatever. You never had a plan. What would you do then about the tire?
You'll be forced to walk.
You'd be forced to walk.
Ask somebody. Either.
You'd be forced to ask somebody.
If you got somebody, you gotta pay them back anyway.
But I don't care. Even if you ask somebody and you gotta pay them back, you're not gonna pay them back out of that 10%. You're gonna pay them back out of that 70. It's a plan.
Then you're gonna get
So you can't
behind.
get what you want then.
Let me write that down.
So it's
Exactly.
either by force or
So a
choice.
folks wrong.
Say it again.
So it's either by force or choice.
It's about being those two. That's what sets people apart. That is exactly how people stay in the same situation for 40 years. Anybody have anybody mind work every day 9 to 5? Get up to work. How long has she been doing it?
About 3 years.
6. So even if the job changed, how long do you remember your parents getting up, going to work, coming home? Getting up, going to work, coming home? Huh? As long as you can remember, right? Now you become a plan. I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. All I'm saying is if you don't, like my mom did it, but I don't look at her as not being successful because she's the best mother ever. Like she has been, I don't see how she could have been a better mother, right? So because she's a successful mother, it's my goal to make sure she's financially good for the rest of her life because she took care of me. Like she got up every single day for as long as I can remember, going to work. I go to the bus stop, bus takes me to school, I come back, she comes home from work a few hours later. She's done that my entire life. And I just didn't know why when I was growing until I started working. She didn't have a plan. Alright? So out of this $100, right? 70 of it you can spend. The first 10% you give to
Donation or tithing?
donation or tithing. The second 10%.
Lil.
So in this part right here, you gotta figure out what you're saving for. What do you wanna do? How many of y'all wanna be an artist? A music, like a rapper, singer? You know how much studio time is? Say you wanna drop a song that you know is gonna be a hit and it's gonna change your life forever, right? You got a song that you know is gonna, all it has to do is be professionally recorded, and I just gotta put it out, right? So, say you get 4 hours of studio time to record that song and something else, that's $200, right? In addition to the $200, how much is the print up CDs?
Sorry, at the studio?
I mean, period, how much is to get the CDs print? So 60, 70, $80. So we had $280 getting it packaged up, right? If you don't have $280 and you have a regular job at McDonald's that pays $7.50 an hour, how do you get this money?
Walk.
It's gotta come up with a plan. Because it's easy to say, well, I'm gonna spend my whole check on getting studio time. Well, that's cool if you have no other bills. Once you get in the real world, like you got a cell phone bill, you got all kind of bills. So if you can't squeeze out $280 for each check, you gotta come up with a. You have to come up with a. So you just gotta calculate it. All right, so by the summer, if it's January, by the summertime, I'm gonna be able to have this thing recorded, out, and I have some money for marketing to go out and, you know, have the DJ play my music, and that's all it took. But it started with a plan. It started with you working at McDonald's, making $8 an hour, working, what, 30 hours a week? That's $160 a week. Does it make any sense to y'all?
That's before taxes, so that's $640 before
Before
taxes.
taxes, Lord.
Yeah.
It's really not $640.
Last 10. So I try to drive this into my little cousins. Now, like, we start with their allowance. This is what you do with your allowance. Because once you got a plan, you know, when you're 10 years old with your money, it's easy when you get a job. And you don't have to figure out what did I do with all this money? I think when I was working my job, I made $30,000 that year. At the end of the year, I don't know where it went. Like I looked at my returns and they said I made $30,000. Like, yo, where did this $30,000 go? Like, you ever got some money and then the next week you didn't have any and you couldn't really remember what you spent it on? Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, you'll do that with your paycheck when you get a job.
Can I just share something?
Yes.
You hit a button, Dave. When I graduated from high school, from a female perspective, I was 3 Hispanics out of a high school that was majority white and black. And in other words, my self-esteem was low because I was still finding myself. So when I went to college or got a license or wherever you're gonna go, get your barber license or whatever, when you start getting paid, this is what I did with my money. I started working for a student loan company and I was making really, really good money, but because I had low self-esteem, and this is stuff you don't say out loud because it's a secret, I started buying things to make myself look better because I didn't believe in myself because I wanted the guys to look at me. Guess what? That happened throughout my 20s, and now at 41, I'm still paying those bills. And I'm telling you this because that's life. So what I'm saying is, don't worry so much about the girls. The girls are not going anywhere. And they actually get better when they're older. You know, like in their 30s and 20s. But, you know, like right now, chill. Like Dave says, work on your dreams. Like this formula that he has, I wish somebody would have told me this. Like, I'm about to break down in tears. I have $50,000 in credit card debt I'm trying to take care of right now. He hit a button. He hit a button. Okay, so I wish somebody would have told me this.